No distraction. Okay, class 10th, we will be dealing with the important question for biology for this session. Your board exams are supposed to happen very soon. So each topic, most important questions we'll be discussing with solutions. How you will be writing the answers and what answers are required basically as per the marks. Okay. 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark, 4 mark, 5 mark questions are there. Sometimes we learn question in a set way. For example, I prepared answer according to 2 marks and that question comes in 4 marks. So we may get confused. See the number of the marks for which the question has been asked. Write the answer according to the marks. Okay. So we'll be dealing with the questions important for your board exam. The first question is, explain the process of budding in hydra and binary fission in amoeba with diagram. Budding in hydra and binary fission in amoeba. Listen, first you understand the term binary. Binary stands for 2. When a single amoeba cell divides into 2 daughter cells, it is known as binary fission. But amoeba is an example of not only binary fission, amoeba shows both binary as well as multiple fission. What happens in this case? In binary fission, a single amoeba mother cell increases the size of nucleus first. Okay? And before division of this cell into 2 daughter cells, the nucleus divide. Okay, this is called as karyokinesis. The division of cell is cytokinesis and the division of nucleus is karyokinesis. So karyokinesis is, you can say cytokinesis is followed by karyokinesis. First nucleus divided into 2 equal halves and finally cell divides to form 2 daughter cells. This process of division of amoeba from single parent to 2 daughter cell is known as binary fission. But sometimes under unfavorable condition, amoeba develops a thick layer around it. And wait for the favorable condition. Under this thick layer, the nucleus keeps on dividing. And when favorable condition comes, it bursts and all cells are formed. Many cells are formed from a single amoeba. This is called as multiple fission. This is basically asexual mode of reproduction, we can say. An example is binary fission in amoeba. Then the next one is budding. When we talk about budding is also a mode of asexual reproduction in which a bud arises from the body surface of hydra, or another example is yeast, and get detached from the parent body and develops into a new daughter cell. We can take example of hydra. This is hydra. It grows a bud onto its body, and when this bud detaches from the mother hydra, it acts as a complete organism. It grows. This process continues. This is called as budding in hydra. What it is called as? Budding in hydra. It is an example of asexual reproduction. Okay. So what you will be framing in answer, the outgrowth from a parent body grows in hydra or in yeast also. When it detaches from the parent cell, it forms a complete new organism. This process is called as budding in hydra. Same happens budding in yeast. Okay. So one question we have covered, which is really important for both. Another question is, what is the difference between self-pollination and cross-pollination? Very easy. Simple definition you will write. When the pollen grain transfer from, question is differentiate between self and cross-pollination. Students, remember, while these type of questions are there in exam, what do people do? You write answer in paragraph. Instead of that, you can divide the page into 2 equal halves. One side self-pollination, other side cross-pollination. Any difference-based question, it is better to draw a line and write into 2 different portions. It becomes very easy for a teacher to see the answer in a systematic way, because what happens when you are writing in paragraph, it is difficult to differentiate that whether you have written definitions or actually the differences. Okay, sometimes you don't know how to write the answer of differences. If a difference is asked between one tall boy and a short boy, and you are writing in difference that it has 2 eyes, the long boy and short boy has 2 eyes, it is not difference. They have the characteristic features, which is similarity basically. Difference means something which is contradictory or contrast to each other. So in case of self and cross pollination, the transfer of anther from stigma, the transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of the same plant, it is called self pollination. Whereas the transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of another flower, it is of the same type, is called as cross pollination. Okay. So when we talk about variation, so remember this, कि more variations are there in cross pollination in comparison to self pollination. So when we are supposed to have selective pollination in which we are going to have desirable product, okay, quality product we can say we want to derive from the plant, we go for the cross pollination. Okay. The next question is, describe surgical and chemical method of contraception. What is the surgical and another one is chemical method of contraception? First of all, we need to understand the process of contraception. The time when we were not able to have a planned baby, that time population explosion was going on. People were not able to have the family planning. But now various ways are there to have, to avoid the unwanted pregnancy. The method is called as contraception, for which the contraceptives are used. So here we have to tell about surgical as well as chemical. As the name suggests, chemical, we can consider them as medicines also. Yes or no? Okay, in case of chemical, we use oral pills. The most famous, which was very, first time prepared was Saheli. It was prepared in CDRI. Where it was prepared? CDRI, Central Drug Research Institute, which is there in Lucknow, UP. Okay. The first oral pill was Saheli. Many other oral pills are there, unwanted 72. These are used to avoid the avoid unwanted pregnancy. Coming to surgical method, you need two types of surgical methods as a contraceptive. The one is vasectomy, another one is tubectomy. In Hindi, the most famous word for this is nasbandi. What happens there? In vasectomy, the vas deferens is cut and tied up so that the passage for sperm is not available anymore. Tubectomy, we do it for fallopian tube. The fallopian tube is cut and tied. So it also, stops the passage for egg. So there is no harm on the physical ability of a male or a female, but they are not able to have kids. But this surgical method is somehow not very suitable because it is irreversible. Once it is done, it cannot be reversed. Okay. Rest, chemical method is also very harmful. The best method is physical barrier method, which is least harmful in terms of side effect. And the next question, explain the changes that occur in male-female reproductive system. I think the question is not justified. The question is, explain the changes that occurs in female reproductive system if the egg is not fertilized. Yes, we know that when the egg is not fertilized, what happened? In general, we can say that the female's body prepare itself for, conceiving, to have implantation. Every month the body prepare itself. Okay, there is a process which is called, the entire process is called as, yes, menstrual cycle, we call generally it as menstrual cycle. In menstrual cycle, if the egg is not fertilized, if the egg is fertilized, this is female reproductive system. The egg which is coming from the ovary, if it is fertilized by the sperm, okay, it will become a zygote and it will get attached to the mother's body. Understood? It will get attached to the mother's body and start deriving the nutrition from the mother's body and it will grow. But if in case it is not going to get fertilized, what will happen? This wall will start shedding off. Okay, this is called bleeding. What it is called? Bleeding. Basically, this wall which is present here, which is going to give support to the zygote if it get implanted, that is endometrium. The endometrium breaks and start coming out from the vagina. This is called as menstrual flow. And the cycle lasts for 3 to 7 days. And once the cycle is finished, another follicle will start to grow. Okay. So basically the question was, what will happen if the egg is not fertilized? The menstrual cycle will take place. Okay. The simple one word answer will be that. These all questions which we are discussing are very important from reproduction topic. Okay. Any doubt? Okay. Another question is double fertilization. Double fertilization, when we talk about double fertilization, this is very important. Double, you'll get one question definitely, either double fertilization or double circulation. When we talk about double fertilization, let's see. This is basically female reproductive system of a flower. This is stigma, this is style, and this is ovary. Inside ovary, ovules are present. I'm making few to make you understand. The pollen grain which comes and sit on the stigma start growing pollen tube. It starts growing pollen tube. And not only one pollen, n number of pollen falls on the stigma of the same flower, at the same time basically, and the pollen tube starts growing. The first pollen which reaches to fertilize the ovule will have two male gametes. One male gamete fertilizes with the egg cell. One male gamete fertilizes with egg cell. It results in the formation of zygote basically. This fertilization is called as syngamy. What it is called? Syngamy. Another male gamete fertilizes with what? Yes? Two polar nuclei. What? Two polar nuclei. Basically, when you see inside the ovule, you will find that there are synergic cell, X cell, and polar bodies. So, polar bodies, two polar bodies are there, one male gamete. Total 3 nucleus will be there. Okay, this is why it is called as triple fusion. What it is called as? Triple fusion. This is called as syngamy. Syngamy is actual fertilization. So basically we can say double fertilization is what? Triple fusion followed by syngamy. Or we can say syngamy followed by triple fusion is called as double fertilization. This triple fusion will lead to formation of endosperm. This endosperm will act as a reserve food material for growing zygote. Are you getting? So when 3 marks question will come, 4 marks question will come, first you draw the diagram simply, then mention one male gamete fuses with X cell resulting in formation of zygote. This is called as syngamy. Another male gamete fuses with two polar nuclei to form endosperm. It is called triple fusion. So basically syngamy followed by triple fusion is called as double fertilization. Any doubt in this? These are the most important questions from topic reproduction. Now we will move towards our environment. Any doubt that time? Yes, can I ask something? Okay. When we talk about our environment, the important question, the very first question which comes in the exam generally is what is biomagnification? What are the levels of chemical highest in the top consumer? I made one PDF regarding the question. So when we talk about biological magnification, what does it mean? You can understand with a simple example first. For example, let's take, suppose, magnesium. It is dissolved in water, basically we are present in water, and there are many fishes, smaller fish, group of bigger fish, group of much bigger fish. You will see that the magnesium total present in the water will be consumed by these fish. If these fish are food for these fish, so suppose this fish eat 4 fishes. So the amount of magnesium present in one fish multiplied by 4 will be in one fish in the larger. So basically we can say, if we want to define the biological magnification, increase in concentration of a non-biodegradable component in a food chain. Here it is given at successive trophic level, or you can say in a food chain. It is called as biological magnification. It is called as, yes. If something is biodegradable, it will get degraded by the organisms. But non-biodegradable, as the name suggests, it cannot be degraded by the act of a living organism. So if a non-biodegradable component is at each trophic level is increasing, at successive trophic level is increasing, this is called as biological magnification. Okay, and the question was, full question was, why are these levels of chemical highest in the top consumers? Why they are highest? Because at each successive level they are increasing. So the topmost is having the second last one. Nahi padna. Shift this side. Yes. Join. Close the door. Please close the door. Put the chair. Biological magnification when at each trophic level, successive trophic level, if you are not able to see, sit that side. The accumulation of a particular non-biodegradable chemical is increasing. At each trophic level, it is called as biological magnification. What happened in top carnivores? They are basically not able to get excreted from the tissues. They become integral part of those tissues. So that is why top carnivores are the one which has the highest magnification of a chemical. The next question is, why is the flow of energy in an ecosystem is considered as unidirectional? It is because the energy cannot be reversed. Okay, the energy which is coming from sunlight is consumed by producers, from producers to consumer, from consumer several categories are there: primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer. It moves in one direction, it cannot be reversed, and only 10% of the energy moves from one trophic level to another trophic level. This is called as 10% law. Very important question. Okay. From one trophic level to another, only 10% energy is transferred. Rest of the energy is lost in maintaining the metabolic activities, your life processes, or we can say heat. Are you getting it? Okay. The next question from this topic is, explain the role of decomposers. Okay, very important role. Do you know that our body is made up of minerals? Yes or no? And it is again, with the action of decomposers, broken down into so smaller pieces that again it turns into mineral forms. And that mineral form replenishes the earth. Okay, so what decomposers do? They basically decompose all the organic matter, the dead organic matter, into simpler one, and again recycles the mineral cycles. Okay, next question. Describe the formation and depletion of ozone layer. How ozone is formed? Very simple. No need to have some rocket science in this. Ozone, what is the formula? O3. Ozone is formed when oxygen is hit by ultraviolet radiations. Okay, then it forms ozone. Are you getting it? When ultraviolet radiations falls on the oxygen gas, it forms into ozone. Okay, where it is happening? Okay, at which layer of atmosphere this is happening? Yes, stratosphere. The question is formation. What was the question? I didn't forget. Describe the formation and depletion. Okay, formation and depletion of ozone. How it is formed? When oxygen is hit by UV rays, the oxygen comes in contact with UV rays, it forms ozone. This is how the formation of ozone takes place. Now, how the ozone gets break or depleted? This ozone, when it comes in contact of chlorofluorocarbons, it again turns into oxygen. You people may wonder, wow, it is a good thing that ozone is converting into oxygen. Oxygen is required by us, but the amount of oxygen which we require is already present on the earth. This, at the cost of depletion of ozone, we cannot afford, because when the ozone layer will get depleted, it will allow the ultraviolet radiation to reach to the earth. When they will reach to the earth, fall on our skin, they may cause skin disease. Yes or no? Okay. These all questions are important. We have discussed 4 or 5 questions from reproduction, 4 questions from this one, our environment. Shift that side. Sit there. Okay, next question is, if 10,000 joule of energy, okay, start solving it. If 10,000 joules of energy is available at producer level, how much energy will be available at tertiary consumer? From here to tertiary. Tertiary we can write this also. 3 degrees for tertiary consumer. So we know one law which we have discussed right now. Before that, how much percent law was there? 10% law. Yes. So solve according to that. Tertiary consumer. How much it will be? Naturally. How? Because it is saying tertiary. It is producer level. It is primary. Then secondary. Then tertiary consumer. Primary, if it is 10,000. Secondary, 10% of 10,000 is 1,000. Yes or no? 10% of 1,000 is 100 joules. 100 joules is the answer. Any doubt? So 2 topics we have covered basically now. Reproduction and our environment. Okay, next 2 topics will be covered in next video.